and welcome back to my channel and to my kitchen. I'm very excited to take you along on my day today. It's basically gonna be like a cooking vlog. I'm just gonna like vlog my day as I cook a bunch of traditional Mennonite style recipes, you could say. And I'm a mom of 3, so it's always broken up all the time, like you never know. But I'm starting the day off by getting a roast in the crock pot so it can kind of just sit in its juices and get all tender and falling apart and everything. And so I'm gonna get that in the crock pot as soon as possible. So I'm just gonna sear it really quickly. I feel like a roast is like a classic Mennonite staple. Like everybody, you know, has their favorite way of making them. And I'm no different. I have my favorite way, and they're really easy. Growing up, I remember coming home from church on Sunday around 11:30. We'd walk into the old farmhouse and we just smell like the roast beef and the carrots and potatoes cooking or whatever, and you knew that you were about to have the best meal of the week. And so I don't make roast as often as I would like to. My husband, they're his favorite, so he's going to be loving that tonight for supper. Everybody has their like favorite cut of roast. This is a bottom of the round roast from ButcherBox. Right now I have my cast iron pan heated up, and I'm going to kind of like just sear it a little bit to keep the juices inside, and you could totally skip this step. But then I'm gonna throw it in the crock pot and have it in there all day. So I'm just gonna set this right here in my skillet. I think, ooh, listen to that sizzle. So I often get asked if like Mennonites have any restrictions on what they can or can't eat, and we like live off the land. We eat all the vegetables, all the meat, all the even seafood and stuff. You know, there's not really any restrictions. A lot of Mennonites do not consume a lot of alcohol or anything like that, and that is actually more of like a faith-based thing. The Bible speaks against drunkenness, so we definitely try to stay away from that. So just getting a good crust on this steak quickly here, just to lock in some of the juices. And like I said, again, if you're in a rush, just skip this step. Don't worry about it. Okay, now this is how you make the best crock pot roast, if you ask me. I put water in the bottom. Listen to that, it's still sizzling. And then I put the roast in there. And then for a little flavor, I will throw in just some onion. Nobody in our family really likes onion. Well, I guess Josh does, but I feel like having it sit there just makes a good flavor, and then we'll throw it out at the end, or I guess maybe Josh will eat it. And then I just keep a small bag of these Hungarian wax peppers that I grow in my garden. I'll just keep them in the freezer, and I'll throw one or half of one on top. I think I saw the Pioneer woman do this with like jalapenos. I just do it with my peppers that I grow, which are Hungarian wax peppers, like I said. And so that just kind of like percolates in there, makes really good flavor. And then I'm just going to add about half a stick of butter. That's a generous amount. I would not do more than that, but that just adds a little bit more creaminess and richness to the meat. And of course, lots more salt and pepper. And then what I like to do is I will put the lid on and crank it up on high for about 2 hours just to get everything like hot and like the juices flowing. And then I will turn it back on low. You could totally skip that step if you are gonna be away for the day or something. You just put it on low right from the beginning and walk out the door and come home and your supper's ready. But if I'm home like I am today, that's what I like to do. Hot at first and then low and slow the rest of the time. So if you're hearing a bunch of noises, that is my 4-year-old and 2-year-old. They're playing in the basement, and my baby is actually already down for his nap first thing in the morning already. Well, it is like 10:30. But today I was hoping to make some whoopie pies. I'm gonna be baking with you all. Yes, I said whoopie pies. We'll talk about that in just a bit. But something that I did grow up on a farm. Mennonites don't grow up in farms quite as much like they used to, at least here in Pennsylvania, just because like the land is, I was gonna say more limited, but yeah, it is. It's like more developed now. There's a lot more developments and like communities and stuff, and less farmland itself. I grew up on a farm. Josh actually grew up on a farm too for a while, till he was like 11, I think it was. But yeah, so I always grew up with, we would raise our own beef. We could see what we were feeding them, and we even raised our own chickens sometimes, even pigs. But yeah, we grew up kind of providing for our family through eggs, meat. We never had a dairy cow, but we would sometimes get raw milk from a neighboring farm. So yeah, actually knowing where our food comes from and seeing it being gardened or raised is just part of my growing up years. So as you can see, my values definitely aligned with ButcherBox, and ButcherBox and I are partnering on this video. And I thought I'd just take a minute to quickly tell you what you can expect if you do sign up for ButcherBox. First of all, it is meat brought straight to your door. Not all meat is created equally, or I guess raised equally. You kind of have to know what to look for if you want to not be pumping your family full of lots of hormones, and just to know that you're buying from reputable sources and farmers. So kind of the system or the rhythm in our family is to have a chest freezer, and we try to keep meat stocked in there so I don't have to be at the mercy of the sales at the grocery store, or also buy the questionable meat, you know, that you don't always know where it's coming from. So ButcherBox will deliver straight to your door 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken, humanely raised pork, and wild-caught seafood. Also, if you get their bacon, you know that it is uncured, nitrate-free, and sugar-free as well. So maybe this is just your little push to try it out. Buy from a company that sources their meat from farmers and fishermen who meet the highest standards of quality. So if any of my Mennonite friends are watching, they're probably like, no doubt, you know, that's kind of just the way we live. We eat suppers together as a family. In fact, I just heard a statistic that said, it was just talking about like the importance of eating meals around the table as a family. And so that's something that we've been doing as with just a family of little children. I know it's only gonna get harder. So that's just something that I wanna keep working on, but that obviously takes some intentionality, some planning. And I just love having meat in my freezer that I can like pull out and thaw at the beginning of the week, you know, and I can prepare it all week for different home cooked meals. And right now, ButcherBox has a really fun flash sale going on. So check that out by going to their website, and that's gonna get you free ground beef for life. So that means you're gonna be getting 2 pounds of their ground beef in every box for the lifetime of your membership. Anyway, right now, I promised the children that they can help me bake once I get the meat in the crock pot. So we are gonna make a traditional Mennonite Lancaster County treat, which is called a Whoopie Pie. If any of you are from Maine, you might know what I'm talking about. I think they're also up there. I'm not sure how it jumped states from Maine to Pennsylvania, but anyway, we're gonna make the good old classic chocolate Whoopie Pies. So if you were like new to housekeeping, or maybe you're still at home with your parents, maybe you're thinking about getting married or moving out by yourself, if you are shopping for kitchen items, please, please, please do not waste your money on cookie sheets that are not air baked cookie sheets. My mom always used these, and like, I will never go back. They don't burn your food, they don't stick, they distribute the heat very evenly, they don't make your cookies crispy, they make them nice and chewy. 100% an air baked girl over here, and you can get them a couple different places. I will link the ones I have down below. I like the large ones, that way you don't have to waste any time heating your oven and having it like half full. You know, if you have the big ones, the oven's more full. Wow, this is kind of a messy dough. It will spread out as it bakes. But you don't want Whoopie Pies too small. I mean, you can. I really like the Little Debbie oatmeal Whoopie Pies smaller because they just look really cute. But I like to make my chocolate chip Whoopie Pies pretty big. So if you buy a Whoopie Pie in Lancaster County, it's gonna be like the size of your head. I'm not making them that big. I mean, I have preschoolers and they don't need to eat a giant Whoopie Pie, you know? And if you don't know where I'm going with this, there's gonna be 2 of these chocolatey fudgy cookies with icing in the middle. So they're gonna end up being really big baked goods. So you don't want them too huge, in my opinion. You do whatever size you like. And then I kind of, it's hard to get them uniform with just a spoon, and my spring-loaded dipper broke. So I'm just gonna have to be careful and match them up with like-sized ones when I'm, you know, matching them up at the end when they are cold. Do you know what these are gonna be? Say Whoopie Pies.
Whoopie Pies.
Uh-oh, you're making a mess. Don't do that.
Can I lick it then?
You wanna lick it?
Yeah.
Maybe when I'm done. These are gonna be, we're gonna put icing in the middle of them.
Can we go like this? It's gonna go like this beside them.
Why? Why do you wanna do that? What makes that fun?
Because that makes it, me don't touch, that makes me don't touch then.
I switched to a bigger spoon. This is definitely working out better.
I see on the camera.
What were you guys playing down there?
Train table.
Okay. Okay, so that was 8 minutes, and this rack is done, or sheet is done, and then these still look glossy yet, so I'm gonna leave them in for a little bit longer. I probably should have rotated them, like put the bottom ones on the top and the top ones on the bottom halfway through, but I was feeding the baby, so I didn't do that. So I think that's why this pan got done sooner than the other. But yeah, you'll just have to kind of watch, and everybody's oven is different. And they look great. But the only way to know for sure is to start taking them off the sheet. How cute are these pot holders? They have like a little leather loop on them. My friend made them and gave them for Christmas gifts. They're very sturdy and also cute at the same time. I love this whisk attachment when I'm making icing. It just makes it that much more fluffy. And yes, this icing takes egg whites, but it's so good, it's worth it. Okay, that was about 2 minutes, and that's as stiff as I'm going to do them. You could go a little longer if you wanted, but see how it's like a meringue type of texture to it? Can you guys see that? Yeah, it's just like stiff, fluffy. And yes, I guess you could do it the old-fashioned way with like a beater or your hand, but every good Mennonite gets a stand mixer on their wedding registry or their housewarming list. So flour keeps it from getting super duper sweet. Like you don't want it so sweet, and that's what the flour does. It kind of kills some of that. And my aunt made this vanilla for Christmas gifts, and she made it herself. And I don't measure vanilla. 1, 2, 3. Unless it's like something super finicky, but I like to just pour vanilla in for icing. And this is the very last of my milk, so thank goodness I had enough. Combine that all up. Now, have you guys heard of lard? It's very much a Mennonite and Amish ingredient. For this recipe, it's not a buttercream icing, it actually takes shortening, which, I think butter is probably better for you. The kids are listening to an audiobook if you hear that. Okay, the kids are down for their naps, and I'm going to fill these Whoopie Pies. But before you can do that, you have to find, because unless you're like really good and get every single one the exact same size, you kind of have to match up like the larger ones with the larger ones and the smaller ones with the smaller ones, because we're going to be making basically, like, imagine a giant Oreo cookie. It's kind of what we're doing. But yeah, so I'm just going to set them on top of each other so I can make sure every cookie has a match. And these all turned out nice and round. Some Whoopie Pie batters are not as like runny, and so however you put them down on the sheet is how they pretty much look. They just spread out a little bit, so they're like blobbier. But these are all nice and round. Some of them are a little bit more oval, but I don't know if you guys noticed, they did not turn out medium sized like I told you I wanted to do. They turned out pretty big, but that's okay. I can cut them in half and give each kid a half, and that actually works out great. And then Josh can eat one big one rather than two small ones, you know? And I'll show you a trick for wrapping these really quickly then later. So it looks like that recipe was enough for 18 Whoopie Pies. So I'm going to go ahead and fill them, and I'll show you kind of how I do. Oh, look how soft they are. Wow. Beautiful. Just a little bit more. Remember, this icing is not overly sweet, so you're not gonna feel like sickening when you're eating one. So my grandma passed away last night. I'm okay. I was, you know, laying in my bed having a good cry last night. I'm happy for her. She was 90 years old. Like, she gets to be in heaven, and I don't know all the details yet, but she had some kind of like aneurysm or something. I don't know. She was doing great. So she went out with a clear mind, and I just know that, you know, if she would have been able to be revived or somehow cured or something, she wouldn't have wanted that. You know, she always lived life full out. She was a hard worker, and she took pride in her work, and she taught me that there is nothing wrong with being proud of your work. She was always busy with something. I would love to be half the person she was, and I don't know, I just hope I can pass along her spirit with like doing creative things, working hard, and just like having that sense of pride at the end of the day when you put your head down on your pillow that you did your best, you worked hard, and you did a good job. Grandma was also a quilter, so she always had so many quilts. She won all kinds of quilting competitions and stuff. We were all very proud of her, and she went about it with great gusto and passion and fervor. When she would have us over for family meals, she never sat down. She was always serving everyone. She didn't even bother setting herself a place most of the time because she was too busy passing the food around and like making sure everybody else was happy. That was just grandma. Okay guys, I want to show you what a Whoopie Pie looks like. Wow, perfect. So good. I'm actually gonna do what my mom always taught me to do, is you take the ugly one, or whichever one didn't turn out as good. I kind of crumpled this one up, and you taste test that one. Let's see how this is. It's so good. It's like chocolate cake with icing, but even better. So Whoopie Pies come in all different flavors. My favorite personally is the chocolate, or like the oatmeal, chocolate with peanut butter. There's red velvet and just so many more. But I think the appeal of Whoopie Pies has always been like you can pack them in a lunchbox for your children or your hardworking husband who's going off to work, and you pretty much have cake on the go. But I'm gonna show you a trick here for wrapping these, because you do wanna wrap them individually so you can throw them in lunches. That's the beauty of a Whoopie Pie. I just rolled out a big layer of plastic wrap. You can hardly see, but here it is. I'm picking it up and folding it over on the one side, and then I'm gonna do the same on the other. This saves time and plastic wrap. And then you just go through and you cut it down right in the middle of each Whoopie Pie, and then tuck each side around, and you have a perfectly wrapped Whoopie Pie ready to, you know, throw in a lunchbox or whatever. So I just like to put them in a 9x13 pan and pop them right into the fridge or the freezer. There's milk in the icing and also egg whites, so I don't feel comfortable setting them out on the counter. Maybe you could, I don't know. I don't recommend it. I don't do it that way. Plus, there is nothing so good as like a half thawed out Whoopie Pie with like a creamy, icy filling in the middle. So good. And another reason that I think these are just so popular is, like I said, their transportation versatility. Like you can throw them into for picnics, or I highly recommend them. Yeah, they're a little bit more work than obviously just throwing batter into a pan and baking a cake and throwing icing on top, but they're like little hand pies. So try them out. I did include, I'll actually try to put a card up in the corner. It's like a super old video, but I made waffle whoopie pies. They're so good. I make them regularly and they are Josh's favorite. Also pumpkin whoopie pies are so good. So yeah, just look around, or if you have like the Weavertown Mennonite cookbook that has a lot of different stuff into. But whoopie pies are very much a Mennonite thing. I don't know if you'll see them in a lot of other places, unless for some reason Maine, I know they know what those are. So anyway, comment down below. Have you ever had a whoopie pie? What did you think and what flavor was it? I wanna know. So Mennonites are notorious for their salads that really, honestly, to the rest of the world would think that they're desserts. If you go through like a potluck line or something and you see all these like desserty looking things, fruity looking stuff at the end of the line, it's considered a salad, but it really isn't. I made a 7-Up salad this morning yet when I was running around doing the whoopie pies. Basically, what all you need is 3 ingredients, and I think everyone needs to have this recipe in their back pocket, especially if you're like me and you have kids and you like them to eat applesauce, but you just want to like give it a little bit of a twist. So all I did to make this, it's still setting up a little bit. So every fall we can applesauce, and I boiled that in a kettle. And then when it gets hot, you can add some raspberry Jello. I buy it in bulk at the bulk food store. Very Mennonite of me. And then you pull it off the heat and add the 7-Up. I just use Sprite because that's what I had on hand, but you know, ginger ale might even work too, I'm sure. And you just mix that all together and you set it in the fridge till it sets up. And it gets like this really nice sorbet, gelatiny consistency. I don't like Jello, but I do like this. And you can use strawberry gelatin, raspberry gelatin, whatever. It's a very, very, very easy recipe, just 3 ingredients. I will link all these recipes down below, but right now I'm just garnishing the tops of them with these slightly, my marshmallows are not very soft. I'm not sure what I did. But yeah, my mom always did this to make it look like flower petals, and it's springtime, so I thought how perfect. So when you cut a marshmallow, I'm cutting them into thirds, it kind of like squishes it together and makes so it looks kind of like little flower petals. And I'm just gonna arrange them on the surface of this Jello here and make it look like a little daisy or something. Plus you can eat them, it's so fun. Ha, it almost looks like a sand dollar. Well, I guess if you want a beachy theme, you could just call it that, you know? Cute, cute. Aw, how precious. My daughter is going to get a kick out of this. She loves everything cutesy. There we go. Aw, so perfect for spring. And actually I'm gonna do one last touch. I'm going to sprinkle some cinnamon across the whole thing because that just makes it extra good. And there it is. So pretty, springy, and very, very kid-friendly. So Mennonites are notoriously known for like cooking their vegetables to death. Oh look, my garlic is almost gone. But yeah, so I could have made green beans for supper tonight. Mennonites do corn really well because we often preserve it and freeze it over the summer, and so it's so much better than store-bought. But there's really no recipe to show you with corn. So I thought I would just do some carrots, which I grew up with having cooked carrots a lot, but I don't like cooked carrots at all. Surprise, surprise. So what I'm actually gonna be doing is roasting these carrots, and I just buy the baby carrots, guys. I just cheat, it's so much easier. It's like $1.29 for a bag and whatever. Anyway, so I'm just putting a whole bunch of spices, parsley, salt, and pepper, garlic, in butter. Normally I feel like when I do roasted vegetables I do olive oil, but we're gonna stick with the Mennonite version, and this is a recipe actually. I will link it below like I said. But yeah, I'm actually drizzling the carrots in butter so they're gonna get all caramelized and delicious. And the recipe does not call for any sweetener, but I'm gonna put a pinch of brown sugar in yet. Hang on. Because whenever you add brown sugar to vegetables and then roast them, I just feel like it caramelizes everything really well. So I'm just gonna toss, oh, that smells amazing. I wish I had fresh parsley. Perfect spring. Make this for Easter, guys. I think everybody would love this. But I'm just gonna toss everything really well. And then you could add Parmesan cheese now if you want, but I'm just gonna wait till the end. Oh my goodness, look at this, guys. That is one baby carrot for sure, wow. But yeah, these are gonna roast a long time, so I just wanted to get them mixed up now, and then I'm gonna sit down and get some editing done, answer YouTube comments, and that kind of thing. But there we go, that's gonna be our vegetable side for tonight. Okay, the kids are up for their naps if you hear anything. So here is the beef. Looks so delicious. But let me get this nasty shriveled up pepper and onions off the top. Maybe I'll save those onions down there for Josh. But yeah, I'm just gonna get some of this broth out and make the gravy. Oh my goodness. You guys missed out on all the excitement, but I was not about to pick up my camera in a time like that. But okay, so I have a new stove here, and I've had it for a couple months, but I accidentally turned off the wrong burner and burned my brown butter, which it wasn't even smoking or anything really. I just dumped it down the drain. But the fire alarm went off, the baby was crying, and in the middle of that, the baby, yeah, did you notice he's on his third outfit for the day? Yeah, so I was changing his diaper, he was crying. He was crying before the smoke alarm went off. So the butter's burning and the smoke alarm, it was just crazy. Anyway. But nobody was harmed in the making of this video or the making of this supper, thank the Lord, except half a stick of butter. But the real art of cooking the Mennonite way is you have so many kettles and things going. So I have the meat in the crock pot. This carrots are looking really good. But then on the stove top, I have to get my noodles done at the same time, my brown butter and my gravy all done at the same time. So that's kind of what I'm trying to juggle right now. Clearly, 3 kettles and 3 children and no Josh is quite a problem. Anyway, just keeping it real here. You cannot have it all, but supper's gonna be good, right? Right? This is why I love my like one pot meals and stuff. I mean, I know this is comfort food. Josh is gonna be thrilled, but sometimes Mama just works so hard, right? Oh, anyway. Okay, I'm not rattled anymore. Let's finish this off. So to make authentic Mennonite noodles, you gotta look for egg noodles. And then I don't know if you saw any of those little red bits floating around in there. Yep, there's one. That's called saffron. I know there's other styles of cooking that uses saffron as well, but it adds like color to your noodles. It makes everything like a nice yellow. It adds a little bit of flavor too. Some people go overboard if you ask me. But yeah, there's one in there again. Yeah, it just adds some color and a little flavor. And then we're gonna top them with brown butter. And to make brown butter, you just, well, you don't burn it like I did the first time around, but you just heat up a skillet to like low, medium heat and just put your butter in there and just keep it moving. And eventually it'll just turn like a nice golden brown. And then you can put that over your noodles once they're strained. Oh, I'm still fogging up. And then I just took the beef broth and put it in here with my thickener, which is just flour and water, and that I mixed up in here so that there would not be any lumps. I love this salad shaker. Yeah, make sure there's no lumps in your gravy. So that's in here. Very little bit of gravy in a giant kettle, but I'm working with what I have. Whenever I make a meal like this, I'm always like running low on kettles. But yeah, I think as soon as these carrots are ready, I will top the noodles with the brown butter and we will eat. In the meantime, I'm gonna set the table and yeah, plate the meat and all that stuff. Okay, Josh is butchering the meat. Neither of us are quite sure the proper way on this one. I think, yeah, you cut it cross grain.
Yeah, I was thinking it'd be easier that way, but
I'm thinking we probably should have just like shredded it rather than sliced it, but oh well. It's good. And then over here is the noodles. I just drained the water off. I'm going to add the brown butter and just toss that to coat it. And I'm gonna salt it a little bit further yet. Fletcher, what do you think of that?
I don't know. What's marshmallow in there? Right there.
That's a marshmallow. Josh is serving up little kids' food a while so it can cool down. Is that for dessert? I know it looks like dessert, but it's called Jello Salad. Isn't that funny? Does it look like a salad?
No, it's little cute flowers.
Yeah, that's marshmallows. You gonna give him some now? Oh, that's so cute. It fell apart. Oh no. And you're just over here patiently waiting for your teeth to grow in so you can eat too, huh? He's eating good. Look at those legs. Bonnie, what did you think when the smoke alarm went off? Okay, so here it is. We have the ButcherBox roast. We have brown butter noodles. We have those garlic glazed carrots and the 7-Up salad. Definitely try that one for sure. That I feel like is going to be a winner no matter what your age is. And then we can have Whoopie Pies for dessert if there's actually any room left. We're not huge dessert.
I want a Whoopie Pie.
You want a Whoopie Pie? Well, we'll see. We're not huge dessert people. We'll often eat like a desserty thing before bed, maybe later on. We'll see, but are you hungry?
I'm sitting here waiting for my food.
I always take a picture of his plate because he always eats way more food than I do, and mine never looks as picturesque. Oh my goodness, I came to shut the camera off. Every time I do a time lapse of us eating, there's always all the cupboard doors open. And it's no different tonight. Oh. Okay, we're just finishing up here, and then Josh is gonna do devotions with the little kids while I get cleaned up. But yeah, what's the verdict?
It's very good.
It was very, very good. Yeah. He loves when we get ButcherBox. They reached out to me and they're like, do you want to work with us again? And Josh is like, that's not even an option, of course. But that was a roast. That was a bottom of the round roast, I think. We really love all their pork stuff too. I get chicken from them sometimes. But yeah, kids, did you like supper? Mm-hmm. Yeah? What was your favorite? The carrots, I think, were like a real winner. That's a new carrot recipe, right? With the garlic and the brown butter. Josh doesn't eat cooked carrots, and I don't really either, and we both love these, but they're roasted, so technically not cooked. Anyway, if you are wanting to check out ButcherBox, I have a link down below. Please use it, and that's gonna get you free ground beef for life. So basically with every box you get, you're going to get 2 pounds of their ground beef in every box for the lifetime of your membership. Anyway, it is 70 degrees outside. I'm gonna clean up supper and we're gonna go on a walk, I think, before it gets dark.
And the storm's coming, so you better do it quick.
Oh yeah. Of course, right when I was inside cooking all day because it was supposed to rain and then it didn't rain. Now it's gonna rain when I go on my walk. Anyway, such is life. But yeah, I also want to dedicate this video to my grandma Zimmerman, who was the best cook ever, and this meal was inspired by her. I'm just so thankful to have a family to cook for. Try out some of these recipes, whoopie pies, carrots, all that stuff. I'll have it all linked down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
And this is why I don't cook Mennonite style very often. Dishwasher is completely full, and these are all the dishes that didn't fit. You want to do them for me, Vonnie?
No.